Laura London is next up. Laura London has a podcast called Speaking of Jung and has interviewed Murray countless times. I've lost count how many times she has, many of which have revolved around BTS that we heard a little bit about earlier. And both Murray and Laura have really dove deeply into the world of BTS, but from that Jungian perspective. And the reason so many of us are so excited about that is it's really reaching out to the next generation, the young teens, 20s, 30s that are getting pulled into Jung to some degree through the music of BTS. So Laura, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for giving me a few minutes here. I didn't know what to prepare, and I can't possibly follow all of that. All of you such brilliant writers. Thank you for sharing your stories. And all I have to share is my story of how I met Dr. Stein and what he means to me. Dr. Stein, Murray. I moved to Chicago in 2004 when you had just left for Switzerland, so our paths didn't cross until November of 2015, 3 months after I began recording interviews for Speaking of Jung. I had quite a difficult time getting to your office that day. It was a Wednesday, which turned out to be the day of the week I would later make my interviews a routine. On my way to your office, we got stuck behind a delivery truck on a very narrow street. The driver decided to stop in front of a cafe, get out, and order a cup of coffee. I was stunned that someone would do such a thing, and I asked the driver if he knew of an alternative route. There wasn't even enough room to turn around, so my husband, who was in the back seat with me at the time, got out of the car and started running toward your office, where you met him out into the street. He came back and told me I should make a run for it. There was no time for me to settle in, oohing and aahing over that beautiful building you're in. And when I realized that you had already begun the interview, I thought I should probably hit the record button. So if you listen to that episode 9 of Speaking of Jung, it begins with Murray in mid-sentence, and that is totally my fault. Thank you for giving me that hour. I will always remember your patience and your generosity that day and since. You sent me on my way with a copy of your latest book and a DVD of an interview you had done, and I snapped a photo of you as we said goodbye, which is on your page. You have a special page that I created on Speaking of Jung's website, and I still yell at people for stealing that photo. So I'll close with this. When I was watching an interview that Anila Yaffe did with Suzanne Wagner for the Remembering Jung series, she told her that Jung took her seriously. And that is what I appreciate most about you. You took me seriously. We've done 14 episodes together, and I treasure each and every one of them. So thank you so much for all the time you've given me so that we can share it with the rest of the world. It has been my honor. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Laura. It's been a delight working with you over the years with these projects as well.
Thank you too, Steve.